Look who it is. Everybody's been asking about you, Volusia. Yeah, I must have some technical difficulties this morning. I'm just making sure that the audio's okay. It should be. I haven't changed anything. Of course I miss Nate. Of course I miss Nate. Oh, look at it. He's on the plane watching the Midday Show. Yeah, Nate was on my computer the other night, switching all my settings around and shit. I went and turned my computer on this morning to do the show, and it was all screwed up. But Nate is officially a blogger. After the show's over today, I'm going to post a Nate the Great vlog on this channel. So stay tuned for that. Did I say blog? I meant vlog with a V. I vlogged Nate's stay here with the Peets. And I had to go and edit it down so it wasn't 30 minutes long. I edited it down to like 13 minutes, I think. If I told you how much he ate, you wouldn't even believe it. I'll just tell you that right now. Good morning, good morning. Yeah, he drinks a lot of milk. He eats a lot of, junk food. I'll go through a list of things Nate ate when he was here. It's unbelievable. And yes, he is eating in the vlog. Apparently, I can only comment in the live chat, can't listen and watch. Oh, why? Because you're on the plane? Yeah, I'd say he probably ate about $200 worth of food. I don't know. I didn't add it up, but that's probably about right. Yeah, definitely. Well, I could add it up right now. Anyway, I do have a great show planned for you guys today. We have a lot to talk about. Down to 2 weeks left in the regular season. Then of course, the first weekend of December, we have the championship games, conference championship games. Then bowl season, bro. Capped off by the playoffs. That's right. That is right. The season went too quick, man. What's up, Jay? And no, for the 100th time, I am not ready for this season to be over. I'm looking forward to these next 2 weeks for the Tigers. And then the bowl game, too. So 3 weeks, technically. Volusia, you're not looking forward to going into Columbia, South Carolina and putting a whooping on them chickens? I am. Playoffs? Playoffs?
Playoff team in man. Playoff team in man.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Volusia. I mean, but they, I don't know. You know what it is with me? People want me to be mad about shit that happened 4 weeks ago every day for the rest of my life. I don't operate that way. When the team plays like shit, I point it out. When they play good, I point it out. C'est la vie. Yeah, they definitely changed some of the bowl game names. I know the Cheez-It Bowl is now the Pop-Tart Bowl. I don't know about some of the other ones. I'm sure there are some name changes. Oh, Trotter's an absolute beast. I mean, right now, currently, Clemson is as the number 6 ranked defense in the country. And surprisingly enough, which is kind of shocking, actually. Coming into last week, Georgia Tech had a top 10 offense in the country. They got shut down. They shut down 2 offenses in a row. Shut down Sam Hartman and Notre Dame. Shut down Georgia Tech. I mean, domination from the word go. Yeah, that's another one. I'm looking forward to this game this weekend, too. Now, I don't know how it's going to turn out. I'll tell you this. If Clemson plays the way they played the past 2 weeks, they'll win. And we'll talk about the lines tonight on the Lunch Money Show, but I have a feeling, and I haven't looked, so I'm sure some of you probably know the answer to it, but I'm guessing Clemson's going to be somewhere around 13-point favorite. I know they were a 10-point favorite before North Carolina played Duke on Saturday. Yeah, I felt bad for Sea-Dog, too. And that Jamoke that came on my stream and rage quit on me because he said I was being mean or whatever he said. I was being a smart ass, which is, I mean, that's redundant. Of course I'm a smart ass. But then after he rage quit my stream, he went on Rec Talk's live stream. So Rec Talk went to the game and then he live streamed in the car on his way home from Clemson. And that same guy was in his chat crying about me, saying I was being mean to Sea-Dog and shit. I couldn't have been any nicer. I didn't rag on Sea-Dog at all during that game. Not once. What's up, Momo? Bro. Matter of fact, I felt so bad for Sea-Dog, I even told, there was still like 7 or 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and I said, Sea-Dog, if you want to get off the stream, you can. And he did. Yeah. Somebody said, why didn't Tyler from Spartanburg call in after the Duke loss? Maybe right now we'd be 9-1 instead of 6-4. That's right. Plus, that's what we do here. We shit talk each other. If you want something, I mean, Mark Rogers has a channel. You can go over there and pat each other on the head for 4 hours, if that's what you're into. Not what I'm into. What's up, Zona? Yeah, Clemson's getting better. North Carolina's not. That was an exciting finish to that game, though. That Duke and North Carolina game. What's up, VicTube? Yeah. All right. Let's get the show on the road. And we'll start by getting rid of this funky music here. Actually it's kind of soothing. Here we go. How about that? What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Midday Show. Happy Monday. How's everybody doing? Let me adjust my chair here. I don't know, it's stuck. It's not rolling. I need one of those little roller mats or something. How's everybody doing? I'm doing good, thank you. A little bit tired. Had to wake up at 3 o'clock this morning to take Nate to the airport. But we succeeded. I got Nate on the plane safe and sound. That was my number one mission for the day. Number two mission, do a good midday show. We're going to take a look at some of the games that are coming up this week. There's some good ones this week. There's some good ones for the remainder of the season. The conference situation starting to play itself out. We know who is representing the SEC. It is officially Georgia and Alabama, with Alabama's dominant win over the Neckbeards. And who else has already been solidified? Is there any other conferences that we already know who's playing in the championship game? I don't know. Well, I know we don't know who's playing in the Big Ten East, representing the Big Ten East yet, because Michigan and Ohio State haven't played each other yet. Has the Big Ten West been locked up yet? I don't think so. Yeah. How long is a month? Well, technically it's 28 days. But most people will tell you 30. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, the ACC. Well, of course I know. The ACC is Louisville and Florida State. With Florida State's win over Miami. And I'm pretty sure Louisville's penciled in there as well. Let's take a look at some of the games here. Actually, you know what? First, let's see who's in here. Who's in here? Who's in here? Matt Dummett, Goose. What's up, Goose? Drake, May. Jeremy. Bulldog, JC. Nate. Nate's on a plane. Brad Pitt. Ram Dog. Roll Tide 99. Jay Shipes. Nature Boy. James. Momo, bro. Christian Russell. I think I already said Drake, May. Zona. Stingray. What's up, Pete? I'm at work, but I'll be listening in, man. Thank you. VicTube and K-Dog. Seminole Seth. That says, go Noles. Clemson got no chance. Clemson got no chance for what? For the ACC championship? Yeah, well, they didn't have a chance 4 weeks ago. That chance was gone halfway through the season. All right. Yeah, let's take a look at some of these games coming up this week. Again, I haven't looked at any betting lines. We'll do that tonight. Oregon and Arizona State. Utah. Is that a trap game for Arizona State? So Oregon plays Oregon State, well, not this week, but next week, obviously. Don't they call that the Civil War? Or is that now banned too? Is that one of those games descriptions that offends people now, like the Red River Shootout, and they changed that to the Red River Rivalry or whatever the hell they call it now? Still the Civil War as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, Utah at Arizona. Arizona, Zona man, ranked 21 in the country. One of the more surprising teams in all of college football for 2023. Didn't they only win one game last year? Isn't that right? I think they're sitting there at like 7-3 right now. Michigan and Maryland, they will be hairball-less for a couple more weeks. Maryland has kind of fallen off, honestly. They played decent towards the beginning of the season, and now they're on a milk carton, especially that offense. So I don't expect that to be a problem with or without the hairball. So, of course, Alabama has their yearly high school game the week before the Iron Bowl. This time they're playing Chattanooga. UL Monroe, Ole Miss, no thank you. Rutgers at Penn State. That game could be more interesting than people think. I wouldn't have said that a week ago, but I'll say it now. The turmoil in Penn State. James Franklin just has to continue to fire people so that he doesn't get fired. He's certainly not going to fire himself, and they're not going to fire him because they just gave him a giant contract last year. And I don't think Penn State has the same amount of money as Texas A&M. Well, actually, I don't think very many schools at all outside of maybe Texas do have as much money as Texas A&M. But anyway, my point is James Franklin is not going anywhere. That's my point. Louisville at Miami. Some of these teams, a lot of these SEC teams have their cupcake games the week before the rivalry games. Let's see here. Wake Forest at Notre Dame. North Carolina at Clemson. 3:30. That's the first. I haven't even looked at the game time set for that. So we've upgraded. Clemson won 2 games in a row, and now they've been upgraded to a 3:30 slot instead of a 12 p.m. slot. I guess that's an upgrade. I don't know. I would have loved to see that game in prime time, but I get why it's not, because neither one of these teams are in the running for the championship game. So, but anyway. That's going to be a good one. Yet again, Clemson, an unranked team who's a favorite over a ranked team. But how many times has that happened? That's happened like 3 times this year. Let's see here. The boat rowers at Ohio State. This is a good one here. Kansas State and Kansas. That ought to be interesting. Probably the game of the week in the Pac-12. Washington at Oregon State. Oregon State sitting there at 12. Oregon State's a pretty good team. Florida at Mizzou. Kentucky at South Carolina. South Carolina has to win against Kentucky and Clemson. Now, they got both those games at home, so their last 2 games are at home. But they have to win against Kentucky and Clemson just to become bowl eligible. Will they do it? No. Matter of fact, now, I think at best they'll go 1-1 in those 2 games. I think it's more likely that they go 0-2. I definitely think they're losing to Clemson, so there's that. And I'll have to look more into this game, but right now I think it's about a 50-50. I like to see who's favored in that. So 4-8 then, yeah, probably. Give Shane Beamer an extension. That's what I would do if I were them. That is what I would do if I were them. Okay, so shout out to Nate. Give you a little update on Nate and some of the things that we did. And again, I'll be posting a vlog of Nate's stay on this channel because it's non-football related, and that's what this channel is about now. And more of that coming, especially during the off season. Some non-football related content will be posted on here, and I'll keep most of the football related stuff on my main channel. But so Nate got here on Wednesday. First thing we did was go to Buffalo Wild Wings and watch Nate throw down there. Then we kind of just, I guess, what are we doing on Thursday, Nate? We kind of just hung around. It was a beautiful day outside. We went shopping for food. We threw the football around some. We went on a walk throughout the walking trails where I live. Thursday was kind of an easy day. Then what do we do on Friday? Well, I had 2 shows on Friday. So Nate basically kind of like sat in here with me while I did both my midday show and my call-in show on Friday. And then all day Saturday, I streamed, the noon games. Nate was in here with me. And then I did the Patreon / member stream for the primetime games. Nate sat in here. And then, was that Friday night? Yeah, it was Friday night that we were streaming till, actually Colby was streaming till about 3 a.m. He got into it with that guy, John the Liquidator, who I've seen some pretty big morons on the internet before, but that guy takes the frickin' cake, this John the Liquidator guy. He owes Colby $1,000 on a bet that they made in the preseason, and Colby's got receipts. He's got the screenshots of the conversation. They made the bet. John the Liquidator told him, gave him the Raj treatment, told him to go F himself. I'm not paying you. So like we do in this community is if you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. So we went in full bore on this guy, rated his stream, called him a bet welcher. Then I went on my call-in show that night, put his name in the title, ragged on him for 2 hours, brought Colby on. Colby co-hosted the show with me because Tiger Baskins has an Android phone, and apparently Android phones don't work when you call in a StreamYard anymore. It just echoes. So anyway, then the guy lost his mind, and he came on Colby's stream with me and Traveling Fools, and told us that he was going to send us a cease and desist letter if we didn't apologize to him. Now, I don't know who the hell this guy thinks he's talking to. If he thinks he's getting an apology out of me, there's only one person on the planet that I apologize to, and that's my wife. That's it. Anybody outside of her, you're not getting an apology from me. And I'm definitely not apologizing for ragging on you for making a bet and not paying it. And I'm still waiting on that letter too, buddy. He's a dummy. As Lou would say, a 5-star dummy, that John the Liquidator guy. Anyway, so then that was Saturday. So we did the game Saturday. And then yesterday, of course, I woke up in the morning, and then I made breakfast. We ate breakfast. And then I shot my State of the Fan address video like I do every Sunday after a Clemson game. And I'm uploading the video, and we're downstairs. Nate goes, are we going to do anything fun today, Pete? Insinuating that we haven't done anything fun the whole time he's been here. So then I felt bad. So we started discussing what can we do that's fun for Nate. And not just Nate, the whole family, right? Pete Jr., and Pete Jr. had one of his buddies over here that spent the night on on Saturday night rather. So he was still here yesterday morning. And it was a miserable weather outside. It was cold. It was raining. It was windy. So really anything outdoors was out of the question. So we settled on Nate's favorite sport outside of hockey. And that sport is bowling. So yeah, we took the family and Nate bowling. And we had a good time at the local bowling alley here. And I will report to you that I am the bowling champion. I only bowl like once or twice a year. I think Nate's on a bowling team. Nate's got his own ball. You know you're serious about bowling when you got your own ball with your name on it and shit, right? Anyway, we bowled 3 games, and I won 2 of them. Nate did win the last game. And no, I did not let him win. He won fair and square. But I am the bowling champion. And the entire game, I was talking mad shit, son. I was trying to get in Nate's head, but Nate just let it roll off. I was trying to get him to talk shit back to me. Some bowling trash talk. But he wouldn't take the bait. He wouldn't take the bowling trash talk bait. Anyway, so then that was it. And then this morning I took him to the airport. So we had a good time, and we ate a lot of food. Nate ate even more. We made the tri-tip steak. We made the magic bean recipe. What was that thing called? Santa Maria beans. That's right. Oh, and Nate brought me some cool gifts too. He brought me, for those of you who weren't on the Patreon stream, Nate brought me some gifts He knows I like hot sauce, so he brought me this hot sauce from Nebraska. And of course, like everything from Nebraska, it's got corn in it. It's corn-based. It's called Corny Chipotle Roasted Corn and Pepper Sauce from a company called Volcanic Peppers. And it sounds disgusting. Honestly, I don't think I've ever had corn-based hot sauce. But I did do a taste test. And first of all, it smells like corn. It smells like spicy corn. But I did taste it, and it does taste very good. He also got me not a box of chocolates, right? Because I'm not an Alabama fan, but a bag of chocolates. So a big bag of special chocolates over there. I've only eaten a couple of those. And then you can't, I don't know if you can read it from here. Well, you can't even see it, can you? Move. You see I have stickers all over my little mini fridge there. Let me move over this way. I'm going to see it there. You see that red one? The red sticker right in the middle? It said, this is funny. It says, it's not a drinking problem if you watch the Nebraska game. Now, I'm not a Nebraska fan, but it's still funny. They probably make one of those for every team because it certainly would qualify for Clemson this year, too. What's up, SC Country? Yeah. It's not a drinking problem if you watch the Nebraska game. So, thank you, Nate, for the gifts. I appreciate you. Well, as far as I know, he didn't, well, at least he didn't clog the toilet. I don't know. I'm sure he probably blew it up a couple times. Luckily, we didn't share a bathroom. Nate had his own room, bed, and bathroom. So I didn't have to worry about anything that was going on in there, you know. And I'll have my oldest son's the one that has his chores, part of his chores are cleaning the bathroom. So he's going to have to clean up after Nate, not me, which is good. So that's one of the perks of having children. You can have them do the shit that you don't want to do. You know what I mean? And the last thing I want to do is clean up after Nate. So, what do you guys want to do? You guys want to do some news this morning? I know there's some college football news, but there's all kinds of it actually, including probably the biggest story of the week. Jimbo Fisher finally fired, paid 76 big ones. That's right, $76 million to go away. I don't know if there's a stipulation in that contract about whether or not. I forgot to open a StreamYard, didn't I? I'll open that for you. When I get done reading the news, you guys can hop on the StreamYard. I'll open it up right now, just so I don't forget. But I don't know if there's a stipulation in that contract where, you know, a lot of times if they pay you these crazy buyouts, if you take a job as a head coach at another Power 5 program, then they don't have to pay you your money. It's almost like when you get divorced, you know. The hell? Oh, here we go. It's almost like if you get divorced, you get alimony. If you're a woman, you get alimony unless you get married again. Then the alimony stops. Same sort of situation. But I don't know if that's the case with him. Also, if you're Jimbo Fisher and I don't know how much money he's worth. He's made a lot of money over his career, so he's already wealthy. And to add to $76 million on top of that, and I think that's paid over the next 8 years or something. So, look, I don't even know why he'd want to coach anywhere. Really, I don't. I mean, if he wants to be involved in the sport somehow, that's great. There's plenty of ways to be involved in the sport without having to be a head coach somewhere. He's not any spring chicken. I mean, he's not Mac Brown's age or anything, but, he's no spring chicken. I don't know why the guy wouldn't just ride off into the sunset and enjoy the money that he's made. Or, some would say he's made it. Some would say he stole it, whatever. I'd say he made it because Texas A&M's the ones that made that dumbass contract deal with him. Do you think they learned their lesson? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say they haven't learned their lesson. And on top of that, the coaching search is on Many people believe that Texas A&M already knows exactly who they're going to hire next. Some of the names that have come up: Mike Elko from Duke. And Texas A&M would be foolish if he's not on the short list of coaches to hire. He also has a connection with the university. Didn't he used to coach there? I think that he did. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to hear from some of you. What do you think? What you think A&M should do as far as their next coaching hire? Some of the funnier ones that I've heard: Lane Kiffin, which I don't think that's going to happen. Dion, which I also don't think is going to happen. What's the coach's name at Oregon State? That's another decent candidate, if you ask me. His name's just escaping me right now. What's up, Wet Blanket? What's up, Wayne? Mississippi State fired Arnett. That was a good idea. Oh yeah, Urban Meyer's a funny one. I don't know. I don't know why you'd want Urban Meyer, honestly. I mean, you might be able to trade some short-term success for problems in the future. Because everywhere that Urban Meyer goes, controversy when he leaves. Sometimes worse than others. And at every level, too. They should hire Lance Leopold. I think probably the most likely is Mike Elko. How much will they pay him? I mean, well, first of all, Duke doesn't have anywhere close to the amount of money that A&M, so they can. It won't take much to outbid Duke if they're trying to keep him at Duke. And Duke is not a destination place to coach. It's a stepping stone. Anyway, we'll see if any of that's in the news. I'm sure that it is.
Breaking news from the Pigskin Pete YouTube channel.
Just like that, top story: who will replace Fisher? 5 Texas A&M job candidates. Let's see what the top 5 are according to the Yahoo people. According to Ross Dellinger, Texas A&M fired Jimbo Fisher, opening one of the country's highest-paying jobs at one of the most well-resourced programs. The move could trigger a cascade of coaching changes and serve as a giant domino effect in the carousel of turnover to cycle. Rife with mega boosters and aggressive spenders, the Aggies are expected to focus their coaching search on some of the highest-paid sitting Power 5 coaches in the country, many of them with large buyouts. However, money is not an object in College Station. The move to fire Fisher goes well beyond more than $75 million owed to him in buyout money. A contract for a new head coach could cost in excess of $80 million. So if you add Fisher's buyout and $80 million buyout for a big-name Power 5 coach, you could exceed $150 million. I don't know. If that's insane. I guess you can't buy wins, can you? Otherwise, they'd be winning championships every year. All right, let's see here. Lane Kiffin. It's his 4th season in Oxford. Kiffin was not a hot name during the last year's cycle, especially for the gig that fellow SEC West program Auburn. His stock has only soared as the Rebels find themselves 8-2, and before this weekend's loss at Georgia, ranked in the top 10. Kiffin brings with him a reputation as one of the nation's best play callers and has been one of the more aggressive coaches in the transfer portal, landing key commitments to fill holes. Kiffin is due to make nearly $9 million in salary next season. That's a shocking number to me. I didn't know that. I didn't think Kiffin was one of those $9 million guys at Ole Miss. Kiffin's buyout for leaving his steep, but particulars are not clear, as the contract, believed to be at least 6 years in length, is under the umbrella of the school's private foundation. So, his contract isn't public. If the buyout is even half of his remaining compensation, the price tag will be in the $20 million range. Now, why I don't really think that... Well, let's put it this way. If I'm a Texas A&M fan, I don't want Lane Kiffin. And not that I don't think Lane Kiffin is a good coach, because I do think he is a good coach. But if you're paying out somebody $76 million in a buyout, and then you're going to go snatch up Lane Kiffin and give him a contract probably worth north of $10 million a year, and pay a $20 million contract on top, a buyout on top of that, the expectation is national title. That's it. And I don't think Lane Kiffin is bringing anybody a national title. So, I'd say no on that. Mike Elko, this would be the top candidate as far as I'm concerned. Former Texas A&M defensive coordinator, has had immediate success in a difficult place to win. The Blue Devils won 9 games in his first season last year and are 6-4 this year after a double-digit overtime loss at North Carolina on Saturday. Now, 46-year-old, there's another reason. He's 46 years old. If he's successful, you can keep him there for a long time. The 46-year-old spent 4 years with Fisher on A&M staff, helping mold the Aggies into one of the best defensive units in the country. Elko has one of the smallest buyouts of anyone on the list at about $5 million. And while the school is adamant about keeping him, it's difficult to see him turning down such a well-resourced SEC program to remain at a basketball school. Ding, 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 ding. That is correct, sir. For all of the reasons just mentioned in this article, you've got a guy who's familiar with the program. He coached there. While he coached there, they had one of the best defenses in the country. The buyout's lower than probably virtually anybody else they're going to get, unless they go way off the road and go and get somebody, who's never, been a head coach before, which I don't see them doing. I mean, I guess it's possible. Or go the group of 5 route. And he's been more successful at Duke over the past 2 seasons than A&M has been. So all of those reasons and more. And like I mentioned, his age, although that's not really like the main or the biggest factor. I don't even think we played Duke, D. So it's irrelevant to me. I'll tell you this. If Dabo Swinney walked away from Clemson, or which was fired, hypothetically, which is not going to be, and he's not going to, so this is all hypothetical, and we were looking for a new head coach, Elko would be near the top of my list for him to go, come to Clemson. So there you go. Now this is funny. The next 2 are funny. Dan Lanning at Oregon. Maybe the only university that has more money than A&M because of the Nike money. In year 2, Lanning's Ducks are 9-1 and ranked in the top 10. He's 19-4 during his stint in Eugene, as the team is capable of advancing to this year's Pac-12 championship game, which could spring Oregon into the college football playoff. I believe that Oregon is the best team in the Pac-12. Is there anybody that doesn't? I know that they lost to Washington. But newsflash, sometimes the better team doesn't win the game. And if Oregon and Washington played this week, Oregon would be favored and probably win the game. So, I think they're going to win the Pac-12. That could impact a potential hire in College Station. Lanning might be coaching through December. Also, the coach has a whopper of a buyout around $20 million. Lanning is a Kansas City native, but has roots in the SEC from his stint at Alabama and lastly Georgia, where he manned one of the country's best defenses in the Bulldogs' march to the 2021 national title. Well, let's put it this way. I think that A&M would be very fortunate to get Dan Lanning. Right. I just think this is going to be difficult. With some of these other schools, you can outbid them, you could throw more money at the situation just to get the guy to walk. You don't have that luxury. The question is, how far would Oregon be willing to go to keep Dan Lanning if he is in the crosshairs of A&M? You get into a bidding war there. So I don't know. Not to mention, Oregon's leaving. They're leaving the Pac-12 and going to the Big Ten. So you can't like right now, you could, if you're A&M, you could say, come play in the SEC. Get out of that shitty ass Pac-12 conference that, can't even get a TV contract. Well, you can't say that now because the Big Ten has the money too. So I don't know. I think that'll be hard to do. Mike Norvell, say it ain't so, bro. Boy, oh boy. Would Texas A&M dig into the Florida State bucket again? They just did it with Jimbo. Ah, dang. I guess the question is, as this guy says, would Norvell leave Florida State where he returned the Seminoles to glory for Texas A&M? That's the first question that needs an answer. The second, well, first of all, according to the Florida State fans, Florida State's going to the SEC anyway, so he doesn't need to jump ship from Florida State to go to A&M to get in the SEC, according to them, because they're going there anyway. So that's not a draw. Of course, I'm kidding. Will he be coaching through December? Florida State is 10-0 and on the path towards an ACC championship and an appearance in the college football playoff. Norvell's track record is impressive. He won 3 division titles and a conference championship in 4 years at Memphis before resurrecting the Seminoles. FSU won 3 games in his first year, then 5 in 2021 before hitting the 10-win mark in the last 2 seasons. Norvell did get a contract extension last year with a massive salary bump to $7.3 million that kicks in next year. Now, the only thing, I don't think this is going to happen. So I'm just going to start there, okay? But again, let's play fantasy land here. Florida State will not be able to win a bidding war, unlike Oregon with Dan Lanning. Florida State will not be able to win a bidding war against A&M. I don't even think they would entertain it. So I don't think that one's going to happen, but it is funny. And honestly, I don't even know, that he'd want to go to A&M. Jeff Traylor of Texas San Antonio. Traylor has turned UTSA into a consistent winner and a yearly contender for a conference title. The 55-year-old Texan is 37-13 with 2 Conference USA championships. UTSA 7-3 this year is in another league title race at 6-0 in the American. Traylor is a Texas guy who rose from the high school ranks in the state and spent time at SMU and Arkansas before arriving in San Antonio in 2020. His buyout is $7 million. So according to this guy, that's the, how did he word this? Did he say that was a top 5? Or just, Here are 5 candidates. Okay, so he's not saying top 5. He's just naming 5. Kiffin, Elko, Lanning, Norvell, Traylor. I don't know. I think Elko is the most likely out of all of those. We'll stay on the Jimbo subject here because why not? After Jimbo Fisher's failure and contract embarrassment, what will it take for Texas A&M to be a winner? I have a feeling. Well, it's not just a feeling. I mean, I think there's proof at this point because Texas A&M's. It's really mind blowing how mediocre they've been under several coaches now. With the amount of money they have, the resources, and the recruiting that they're doing, nobody has done less with more than A&M. And they want to blame it on every coach that comes through there, but it's been multiple coaches now. I feel like A&M is one of these places where because they have such a big influence financially, the boosters, I think they have a lot of input, and it's one of those things. I feel like there's too many chiefs. You know what I mean? Too many people putting their input in on every little decision for the team, instead of just letting the coach run it his way. Now, that's just my opinion. I don't know. Obviously, don't have any inside information on that, but it just seems to be to me that's probably what's going on there. Credit A&M for not letting a past mistake become a future mistake. This wasn't going to work, so the school was willing to spend lavishly to get out of the deal. Fisher was paid $122 million for nearly 6 seasons of work, more than $20 million per year, or $2.71 million per victory. God dang, when they put it like that, that's insane. Yeah, they don't have a budget, do they? So a bottomless pit of cash there. This article is just honestly too long and wordy and it's boring, so I'm not going to read it. I wonder if they have a story in here about that guy. Did you guys see this? I know you Florida State fans did. I did forget. God damn it. I have it written down right here too, and I even thought about it earlier. I said before I switch over to the second channel, I need to open up the main channel and unblock Clint Eastwood. And you know what happened? I was gonna do it. And then I sat down and I fired up my computer, and it was all jacked up. So I spent 20 minutes trying to figure out what the hell was wrong with my settings and everything to get the show on by 11 o'clock. So I did forget. Anyway, yeah, I blame Nate too. He's the one that messed up my settings. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Did you guys see this? The guy, so there's a guy, a player, I think it's from this coming class, the signing class, the early signing class in December, who is committed to Ohio State. Not verbally, he's committed. Hard commit, committed. After the game, he was at first of all, he went to the Florida State game in Miami, and after the game, he announces to the media that Florida State is in the lead right now. Like, in the lead? You're already committed to Ohio State. You're talking about in the lead. What was that guy's name? People rag on Dabo for not bringing let people come to visit to Clemson if they're committed somewhere else, or he won't let them go visit somewhere else if they're committed to Clemson. This is why. This is because that's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to Ryan Day and Ohio State that a guy commits to you and then publicly goes out to a game and says that another team is number one in his mind right now. He's not committed to Florida State. He's committed to Ohio State. Oh. I'll tell you one thing. If I'm Ryan Day, unless this kid's the next Marvin Harrison Jr., I think he's a wide receiver. Unless this kid is the next Marvin Harrison Jr., like that good, I'm calling him up and saying, yeah, don't worry about it anymore. You can go to Florida State now because you're not coming here. That's what I would do. I wouldn't want the kid. That's just me. He's the type of guy that, he wants to come in as a freshman and get, 8, 9, 10 catches a game. Otherwise, he's going to transfer out. So, better off just not having him at all. Georgia and Tennessee this week. That game in Knoxville? For some reason, I believe that Georgia's last 2 games are both on the road, right? They got to go to Knoxville, Tennessee, and then they got to travel to Georgia Tech. Yeah. This is an interesting conversation. We're getting close to the Heisman now. Talking about the Heisman, in the first half of the season is kind of just for fun. Because the person leading the Heisman race after 5 or 6 games almost never is the one that wins it. We know that. So Jaden Daniels is having a Heisman caliber season. It is a stat award. It's a popularity award. And it almost always goes to a quarterback. So he checks all those boxes. One box they don't check is their record. Now, that doesn't mean he's not going to win it. As a matter of fact, I think right now, my opinion is that it's either going to be him or Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, probably more likely a quarterback than a wide. It would be pretty shocking if a wide receiver did win it, but you can make an argument if you're somebody that pays attention to college football and has at least, some sort of acumen in understanding the sport, that Marvin Harrison Jr. could possibly be pound for pound, play for play, the best player in the country. So he just happens to play wide receiver, which doesn't work out in his favor. The way that Harrison's playing, and Ohio State's quarterback, frankly, isn't very good. He's not terrible, but he's not good, not great. My money right now would be on, well, let's see. I don't even know what the top is. I'll pull that up in a minute so I can sort of check against my own personal thoughts here. But this is just Pigskin Pete's list. I'm not saying this is the list. I would have Daniels, Bo Nix, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Penix. That's 4. Who would my 5th be? Probably Brock Bowers from UGA. That'd be my top 5. I'll pull it up in a second and see what they are. It is kind of a meaningless award. It's meaningless to everybody except for the guy who gets it, right? And I guess school pride, if you're a fan of that team or whatever, you go, we got a Heisman winner. That's great. But other than that, it's basically meaningless. Daniels was unstoppable in the Tigers' 52-35 win over Florida on Saturday night as LSU improved to 7-3 on the season. So that's the other thing, 7-3, but not unheard of. There's been, 3 or 4 other Heisman winners that had 3 losses, right? Well, Lamar Jackson's one of them. Who am I missing here? I know there's another one. I just can't think of it. There's a couple more. Yeah, Tebow. Thank you. Not the ukulele. Yeah, Tebow's the one I was thinking of. Well, Beck will get a nod, definitely, because they're probably on the best. He's the quarterback of probably the best team in the country right now. In my opinion, Oregon and Georgia are the best teams in the country right now. I'm not sure that Beck has the numbers. I know he's putting up big numbers the later the season gets, the better his numbers are getting. But they weren't out of the gate big like that. Thank you, Jeremy. RG3. That's the 3 I was thinking of. Lamar Jackson, Tim Tebow, and RG3. 3 lost team Heisman winners. And that's just within whatever the past 20 years. There might be more going back further than that I just can't think of. But that in this century. At the moment, Daniels is 3rd in MGM's Heisman odds at plus 400 behind Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr. So Marvin Harrison's not even in the top 3 according to MGM. I think he should be. But he put up an insane stat sheet this past weekend. You're all familiar with it. I'm not going to read through it. But, I mean, I think just by himself was responsible for like 6 touchdowns or something. Insane amount of yards. The whole thing, rushing and passing. So. Ohio State remains on track to the Orange Bowl versus Louisville. Latest Ohio State Bowl projections. This is interesting. Ohio State is still projected on a path that finishes outside of the college football playoff. While the number 1 Buckeyes are one of the 7 teams that remain undefeated, along with Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, Washington, James Madison, and Liberty. Well, James Madison and Liberty. First of all, James Madison can't even play in a bowl, I don't think, right? Because they made that jump from the FCS. That's a stupid. That's a whole another video. What a dumb rule that is. Most writers have the Buckeyes facing Louisville in the Orange Bowl on December 30th. Ohio State has faced the Cardinals twice, beating Louisville in 1991 and 1992. We're going to keep seeing these bowl projections every week for the next 3 weeks. And they're going to change every week, too. I don't know. That's kind of the point, Volusia, is it's not about who's winning the Natty. The Heisman winner isn't always on the national championship team. I still find, the Heisman debate is always a funny one. It reminds me of the debate at this time of year where we talk about the top 4, which is going to go to 12 next year, the best versus the most deserving. And it's sort of the same debate back and forth as far as the Heisman is concerned. Who's actually the best player and who's the most deserving of the Heisman? So you can make a case either way. depending on what your opinion is on who should get it. With a win over Arizona State and some help, Oregon can clinch a Pac-12 title game spot this weekend. Which they probably will do, I would think. Boy, imagine having to write this article. Jeez, now I can relate. You know, doing YouTube, talking about, you know, for 8 months of an off season, trying to come up with storylines and shit to talk about. It's not easy, trust me. But this one here, 5 storylines to watch ahead of Alabama's home finale against Chattanooga. I can't even think of one storyline. This guy, I don't know how, he must have taken some mushrooms or something to try to come up with 5 reasons to get excited about this shit. There isn't a storyline. The hell? The only storyline in this game that matters is how much is Alabama going to win by, and which starters aren't playing in the game to prepare for Georgia, or to prepare for Auburn, rather. That's it. This guy really pulled out all the stops, man. Avoiding rat poison. I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to read the 5 points. Avoiding rat poison. Style points matter. Do they, though? Against Chattanooga?
Wrong.
Defending Chattanooga's 3 weapons at wide receiver. Keeping Jalen Milroe healthy. Now that I agree with it. I agree with that. Final home game for the seniors. The only people that care about that is Alabama fans, which this is an Alabama writer, I think, so that's why. Yeah. Style points. The only thing that matters right now for Alabama is winning. Style points do not matter. Win out, you're in. It's pretty much that simple. Peete Magaha. Oregon's college football playoff odds go up after their big win over Southern Cal. That doesn't interest me either. Again, most of these teams that are in the conversation right now are all in the same boat. Every single one of them. Win out, you're in. That's it. If you're Florida State, win out, you're in. If you're Alabama, win out, you're in. If you're Oregon, win out, you're in. The question is with Louisville. I believe that if Louisville won out, most likely they would get in, but there is a chance that they wouldn't, based on what's happening around, with some of the other conferences. So that's probably the only one I could really say is not 100% win out, you're in situation. But I get it. Look, these writers, they've got to come up with stuff to write about this time of year and create storylines that really don't even exist. Like the style points one for existence. I mean, for instance, it's like. A lot of that dominates pretty much all the college football news right now. Is bowl projections, projections. No, Big Ten bowl projections. Now, this is an interesting topic. Now, I think I don't really want to talk too much about this because until the off season, because there's really no reason to. But anytime you have a team like Texas A&M that's been recruiting in the top 5 almost annually, from under Jimbo Fisher and before, typically whenever there's a head coaching change, you're going to have some turmoil in the recruiting as far as decommits. Certainly the guys that are already on the team, maybe they were recruited by Jimbo Fisher, they transfer out. It'd be interesting to see how this affects their signing class for this year. And well, a lot of that really depends, I guess, on who they name as their next head coach, right? If the player likes the new head coach, they'll stick around. If they don't, they'll they'll sign. If not, they'll sign somewhere else. Six offensive coordinator candidates for Penn State. I'm going to click on it. This will be the last one that I read, and then the StreamYard's already open, but I'll bring you guys on the StreamYard, whoever wants to come on. All right, 6 offensive coordinators candidates for Penn State. Of course, Penn State, after their loss to Michigan, fired their offensive coordinator, which is totally understandable. Their offense is atrocious. After another offensive performance that lacked explosion and creativity, leading the 24-15 loss to Michigan on Saturday without Hairball, Penn State head coach James Franklin reiterated the offense must get better. Not even 24 hours after the defeat, it was announced that Penn State offensive coordinator and quarterback coach Mike Urick was relieved of his duties on Sunday afternoon. Penn State confirmed that Jawan Cedar and Ty Howell will take over play calling duties for the remainder of the season. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see here. Joe Moorhead. Who is the brother of Craven Moorhead. We all know Joe Moorhead. He's been around different teams of college football for a long time. Joe Moorhead is an old friend of Happy Valley and an automatic addition to any short list. Moorhead was the offensive coordinator for the Nittany Lions for 2 seasons in 16 and 17 and increased the offensive production from 348.5 in 2015 to 432.6 in 2016. They didn't specify that, but I assume they're talking about offensive yards per game. The 2016 season ended in a Big Ten championship for the Penn State, and after the following season, Sports Illustrated named them the #1 rising assistant in college football. Yeah, Sean Lewis, Colorado's offensive coordinator. Go steal him from Dion, huh? Anyway, Dion won't like that. Joe Brady. Look at this. Y'all think Joe Brady wants to go back to the college? Had that year with with Joe Burrow and LSU, that run. He's been in the NFL ever since. Time in Carolina was not good. I'm not blaming that on Joe Brady. I'm blaming that on the terrible organization in Carolina. Of course, now he's the quarterback coach for the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen and company. That'd be an interesting one. Will they promote from within? That's right. The guy who's now the quote-unquote interim or whatever, the guy taking over as co-offensive coordinator at Penn State right now. Will they stay in-house? Cliff Kingsbury. Oh, God. Gonna bring this guy back? Honestly, that wouldn't be a bad hire there, if you ask me. Cliff Kingsbury. Head coach, wrong. Offensive coordinator, pretty good. Andy Ludwig, Utah's offensive coordinator. I don't know about that, bro. You seen Utah's offense? It's terrible. So, I don't know. Out of those, I would say Moorhead is a good option. I'm not so sure about Sean Lewis. And Joe Brady's an interesting option. And so is Cliff Kingsbury. So, there you go. We'll see. We'll know soon enough. This is funny. I just pulled up my StreamYard. And it sends me a message automatically. And this is new. It says, your guest, Slim Shady Canes, who's in the back room, about to bring him on. Your guest, Slim Shady Canes, is an Android customer which has a bug that causes an echo. Google is working to fix it for now. Please ask your guest to wear headphones and avoid echo. Yeah, I think he is. So it doesn't matter. What's up? You're on with Pete. Welcome to the show.
What's up?
Do I have an echo?
No, you don't.
No.
Okay.
You wear a headset, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why.
You on the road right now?
Yeah, I'm in Griffin, Georgia.
No. Could be better. It could be worse, I guess.
I wonder how this happens. Like, StreamYard is not a new service. Like, how all of a sudden does 50% of your customer base, like, can't talk? And by the way, it's understandable if this had only been going on for, like, a couple of days and then they fix it. This has been going on for, like, a month now.
Yeah, because I get that same message. I've noticed it's something to do with Chrome, is what it
That's
is.
a Google problem, huh? Okay, well. Anyway.
Well, I see Volusia's been let out of the gulag. That's nice.
No, it's not that.
Yeah,
I got sick for a while. So,
you got sick. Well, damn. Well, first of all, what kind of sickness was it?
No, I had an infection, like a lung infection, not COVID, a different thing.
Okay.
And so I was in the hospital for a little while. And
Oh, really?
And then, yeah. But I'm good now. I'm still taking some meds and stuff. But
Yeah, I can kind of tell you sound a little bit. Yeah, I can tell in the way you sound.
Well, I'm not going to lie. More than a couple laughs have been had at your expense because it is convenient timing that the last time you were on,
you know what?
you got chewed out.
Well, it was a mutual chew out, but then we lost the game. I know.
Yeah. It's like
No,
me and Pete were sitting there talking about it. We're like, we don't understand a word she's saying, but we all understand a wife ass chewing in any language.
yeah, that's right. She probably yelled at me.
Yeah, she yelled at you, and then you got off the stream, and that was the last we heard of you.
Yeah,
I think it was you and True Seminole were having
that's
a
right.
lover's
Yes, we
quarrel.
were.
We thought she might have reported you to the CCP.
No. They're not Florida. They don't like Florida State either.
Oh.
No.
Yeah,
I
because
just
Florida
got
State's
sick,
an
and
all-girls
so I was
college.
like laying low and stuff, and then I was busy for a little while, shit like that. But I'm good. I wasn't ducking smoke or anything like that. I just was fucked up.
Yeah. Don't worry, I got that too. After they lost, who did they let? Shit, they lost 2 in a row. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was after they lost to Miami.
Yeah.
I was on the road. I had to fly out at like 5 o'clock in the morning that Sunday after they lost to Miami.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
so I wasn't able to upload a video immediately. And everyone's like, oh, where's Pete? He's running and hiding because they lost to Miami. Oh,
How
shit.
dare you run and hide, sir?
Like, shut the fuck up.
That was a-
Where am I going to hide? Anyway, I'm glad you're okay now and you're back. And you're not dead and you're not in the gulag, so that's good.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all. Doing great.
Well, I'm assuming you were able to watch Clemson when you were in the hospital and whatnot when you were sick.
I was. Unfortunately, did not. It probably slowed the recovery process. Yes.
That's a good point. So what do you think? I mean, I know what you're gonna say, but I want to hear you say it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, look, I I tend to agree with Dabo in principle, right? I like his. I thought that his response, and this is the last time I'm gonna fucking talk about Tyler from Spartanburg, because if I have to hear a fucking asshole on ESPN talk about Tyler from Spartanburg one more fucking time, but
I'm trying to be the next Tyler from Spartanburg.
you know, that's what's up. Like, you should do that, but not fucking Hogan McFarland. Anyway, so what I do think we are a couple plays.
The hell? Hold on. I gotta mute you, Slim.
We are a couple plays and a couple bounces away from being 8-2 or maybe 9-1. I'll say 8-2. I think that we obviously should have won the Florida State game, and the Miami game goes without saying that was a fucking disgrace of a collapse. But I do understand the notion that we had a lot of guys come back this year. And so that didn't leave a lot of scholarships free for transfers, but we've obviously got to hit the portal. And I think I have come to the realization, or at least the opinion, I guess, that even more important than that is we do have to overhaul the offensive coaching staff. Our receivers and our offensive line are poorly coached. We can't fucking protect the quarterback or run block. And I don't care how many skill players we have. We can't run block or pass protect. And, I think that, we've got to stop this handing coaching positions to guys who played for Dabo. I like these guys. I rooted for them when they played for us. I think that they're probably good dudes, but Clemson's not the place to cut your teeth. And I think it's really painfully obvious that we aren't a well-coached team, especially offensively.
Right. And that brings us back to you're part of the problem, according to Dabo.
Oh, right. Of course. Yes, that's right. No,
I mean,
I agree with what Dad was saying. Like, I'm not saying that. I think that he will. See, the difference is I think that he will make those adjustments.
You do? I don't.
Fire Brandon. I do. We didn't know he was going to fire Brandon Streeter.
Yeah, that's true. That did take me by surprise. But I'm still based on his reaction to the criticism about the coaching staff.
Right.
I don't think that he's going to make a change.
Yeah, but he always does that. He's not the kind of guy that's going to do it mid-season like a bunch of other people do. He's never going to do that.
I'm not even saying do it during the season. I'm saying I'll be surprised if he doesn't when the season's over.
Yeah, but I mean, he deflected criticism from DJU right up until he benched him. He deflected criticism from Streeter right up until he fired him.
Sure, that's all true. That's all true.
So, Dabo's not the kind of guy who's going to throw someone under the bus in the media.
I know.
He's just going to quietly do what he has to do. And again, he's not an idiot. I think he's going to. He sees what we see. If we see it, he fucking sees it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I do tend to. I would anticipate changes at the wide receiver and offensive line coaching positions in the offseason. And I was talking with my old man about this too. He was saying, well, why didn't he just let Garrett Riley come in and hire his own staff when he hired him? Well, Riley's a younger guy, and I think, after a season of Riley's offense struggling, he's going to have a season of understanding about what he needs to have a successful offense. And I think, you're going to have a conversation between he and Dabo about what he wants to do with the coaching staff. Now, that doesn't mean he has carte blanche to fire whoever he wants, but I think they hopefully will have a constructive conversation about that as well. And Riley has a better idea about what he needs to be more successful at Clemson.
I really hope all those things happen. That sounds like a lot of sunshine and rainbows to me, though. I don't know.
And that's where me and you are fixing to have a disagreement, because I'm not even necessarily certain that the coaching staff is the entirety of the problem with the offense. Right. Dabo needs to get his hands off of that offense and let Garrett Riley do what he hired him to do.
I mean, do we know how much of it is Dabo and how much of it is Riley? How different does Riley's offense look this year than it did at TCU? I don't know that the play calling is massively different. The personnel and execution is different.
That's it.
Until yesterday, Clemson's offense looked the same as it did last year.
That's not entirely true.
No, we use the middle of the field way better than.
Well, I'll agree with Slim here. The execution of the offense was the same as it was last year, but the scheme has been differently. There were
some differences in the scheme, but they were minute. They're not wholesale changes in the scheme of the offense.
But the comment that Volusia made about if we see it, Dabo sees it. Well, he sees it way after we see it then, because we've been saying for the past 2 seasons that Phil Maffa should be carrying the load for this offense at running back, and they're just now starting to do it. And guess what? They're just now starting to win.
I don't know. I think that if Shipley were healthy for the Notre Dame game, it would have been a similar result. Shipley's problem is that we don't fucking open holes for him.
Well, he's good for some speed plays, but he should not be the guy that's getting 20 carries a game.
Right. I think both he and Maffa should be getting 15 carries a game. Maybe give Maffa 20 and give Shipley 10 with 5 catches or something like that.
Right. But
I also don't necessarily think your record is vastly better, even if some of these things were corrected this year.
Yeah, I think we're 2 games better.
You pointed out Florida State. I think Florida State probably would have beat you regardless, maybe.
I don't. We missed the game-winning field goal. I mean, it was a chip shot.
Yeah.
And they scored on a fucking sack fumble for 6. Like, I think we outplayed them in that game.
Well, in that game you did not outplay Miami.
Well, dude, Miami's terrible, man. Come on.
No, yeah, we lost them.
Stop
Miami's
it.
fucking horrible. Like, I don't mean like
Stop
you have to be fair and square. Miami sucks, dude. Miami's really bad.
No, they don't. Like our defense is better than Clemson's for starters.
No, okay, cool.
I don't know if that's true or not, but
That's not.
The numbers back it up.
Lead and blew it like it was embarrassing, but.
I will say that Miami's defense is pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah, no, Miami's okay.
Well, and until the bye week, Miami's offense was just fine.
Yeah.
I don't know if Van Dyke's girlfriend broke up with him, if somebody ran over his dog.
What the fuck happened to him,
dude? I don't. Now some of it, actually the majority of it is on him. Some of it too, he's not getting any help from the play calling. Like when you're able to effectively run the ball that much, why am I not seeing a ton of play action or RPO?
You did in the game against Clemson when they started. What's his face, right?
You saw a little. I mean, they mainly just relied on the run game. I mean, he did enough not to screw it up, is what he did in that game.
Yeah.
Now, Miami fans lost their minds when it came to this Florida State game. Emory Williams played absolutely terrible. He completed like 30% of his passes. And, you know, some people aren't going to like this statement. I don't really care because it's what I think.
Yeah.
I've seen Miami put too many quarterbacks in too early and ruin them. Well, now you've taken it a step farther, and instead of breaking them mentally, this motherfucker's got a snapped forearm.
That sucks. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
look, I think that if with a couple, first of all, I mean, we've had some of the most ridiculous, and I don't want to call it luck, because it makes it sound like I'm like poo-pooing it or not, or making an excuse. But like some of the turnovers and the fumbles at the 1 yard line.
I don't know if that's luck so much, but it's
man, it's not like, what are you gonna do?
By the way, Pete, did you watch the Miami Florida State game? I know you said you were going to.
I didn't.
The only quarter I missed was the third quarter. I watched the first, second, and fourth.
Did you see that safety? Again, got absolutely robbed of a safety on a review. Again.
Yeah, Rick has a good point. Miami's number 19 in total defense. Clemson's at 6 right now. So, but yes,
it was what it was last time I looked at it, and I would still, the way I've seen them play, I'd take Miami's defense this year.
I would disagree with that, although. Look, Clemson's problem in the defense. We know this. This is not.
Yeah, right.
Well, even Saturday, I'm not a moral victory type person, but you held Keon Coleman to 4 catches and 24 yards. Yeah. You can't ask for any better than that.
True. You got to score more points.
Well, Clemson held Florida State to like 2 rushing yards or something, and I don't know how many rushing yards did they have on Miami?
Like 30.
Really more than that.
Yeah. Well, still.
I don't think Florida.
But we held Clemson to 2 rushing yards.
That's true.
Yeah. No, our offense isn't very good, dude. And the thing is, quarterback.
The quarterback is a turnover machine. So that's a huge problem.
Talented.
And
he's good. I mean, against Georgia Tech, he was very good. The issue is that he sucks under pressure.
Yeah.
And we can't keep him out. Like, instead of, like, oh my, so I'm a Bengals fan, so I watch Joe Burrow every week. And when Joe Burrow gets pressure in his face, he rolls out and makes amazing plays every time. Well, except now that his cap is healthy. He looks fucking incredible, and he's just great at that. Klubnik doesn't. Klubnik steps right up into the Georgia Tech's rushing, not just Georgia Tech, everyone all year, rushing 3 guys on third down. They get pressure right up the A gap, and Klubnik steps right into the rushing defensive tackle and flings the ball off his back.
Yeah, one of the things he's got to stop is just throwing the ball up in the air. It's not high school anymore. You should know that by now.
He's just terrible under pressure. He walks into the pressure, and when he rolls out and tries to escape it, he makes bad throws. He's great in the pocket. A clean pocket, he's good, but like any improvising, not very.
He doesn't get a clean pocket very often. The offensive line's not very good either. But
so Deshaun Watson could succeed in this offense, but he's not that.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's what's frustrating. Our offensive line is so good this year, and that's been our weakness for 5 years.
I think blowing a good offensive line is maybe the most frustrating thing.
There's only one senior starter on this offense. That's it.
Clemson's?
Yeah.
And that is, hold on.
Got to be Putnam.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, that's
it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the vast majority of the offense, especially the skill positions outside of Shipley, he's a junior, obviously, but are freshmen and sophomore. So they're very young. But
Tyler Brown's good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's kind of the point. But that's not an excuse. Because there's no excuse for some of those boneheaded losses that they had. I mean, it's one thing if you lose to a team that you're better than once or twice in a season, but 4, because I think Clemson's better than all 4 teams they lost to. Now, some of them are more. Some of them.
Team on our schedule.
I know Florida State fans get mad when I say that.
Which is true.
They're
the second.
That's somewhere else where I think Miami falls into that category as well. Miami's probably better than every team they've lost to.
Yeah. They say so, probably, yes.
No, John, I agree. The turnovers are inexcusable, whether it's a freshman or a senior. Let's put it this way. The amount of turnovers is inexcusable.
Yes, and the timing of the turnovers and the field position of the turnovers is insane, man. I mean, just how many times have you fucking fumbled the ball inside the opponent's 5 this year? It's absolutely absurd.
Sounds like Slim Shady's like unrolling a giant roll of duct tape. I don't know what he's doing.
The rig, dude.
I think he's like loading up or something.
Yeah.
Sorry, Slim. You can come back in whenever you're ready, but. Anyway, yeah, but here's the thing. There's no 2 ways about it. It's been a terrible, disappointing season for the Tigers. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. But it is what it is. We have 2 games left. Two games that I think that they should win.
Yes.
And also I think that they will win. Although my normal on any given normal season, my level of confidence that they're going to win out is not as high as normal, just because I've seen what they've done this year, and I don't know if they can revert back to that on any given week. But South Carolina's no good.
They're bad.
They're terrible.
Yes.
And North Carolina has been declining rather than getting better.
North Carolina does this all the time. They look good, and North Carolina's playing terrible football.
And also, they make every offense they play look like the Chiefs.
That's right. Look, they got the refs robbed Duke in that game. I mean, that's college football, but I'm not a Duke fan, obviously, so I don't give a shit. But I think that the refs robbed them. They also lost to Georgia Tech and Virginia in the last month. Yeah, they're not playing good football.
No, they're not.
And look, I think that the last 2 games, particularly this Georgia Tech game, it was just good to actually just shit on someone finally. Sorry, it had to be Georgia Tech, not really, but. I mean, I do feel much better about this year's team, at least for our final 3 games, after watching the team the last 2 weeks. I think it is very possible that we can win our last 3 games. And that won't salvage the season, but it'll be nice, I guess.
Yeah. And the defense at this point is just making these offenses look silly.
Yes, they're great. We have so many studs on defense, and we do that, and it's good to see them, especially the young guys in the secondary look really good.
Yep.
But I think, look, like you said, this season is a disappointment. Even if we win our last 3 games, it's a disappointment. And I think, we can complain about seasons that have happened in the past, but we were able to roll off a bunch of wins. Or like last year, we were disappointed, but we still won the ACC championship in 11 games. And so Dabo could always be like, oh, yeah, and point to, we did this, we did that, we did this. But this year, we didn't do shit. And so, I don't know. He could prove me wrong, but I don't think that he's going to stand pat this offseason.
Who do I think the Gators will go after to replace Napier? He didn't get fired.
No, he's not going to get fired.
No, Napier's not getting fired until next year.
I agree.
If that's what you're asking, John, who do we think we're going to go after next year? Because I don't think he's getting fired this year.
No.
He is going to get fired. It's just a matter of when. Probably next year. Are they still paying the last guy?
Mullen?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe that's why he hasn't taken another job and he's sitting at the booth on TV.
But every time Florida's looking for a head coach, what name comes up, right?
Urban?
Yeah.
People are bandying him about for Michigan State. Look, he's not getting a head job. Come on.
The only good thing about Urban coming back to Florida is going to be the 30 for 30 that comes out 5 years later.
Yes.
On the disaster that happens.
I don't know if that's a thing.
No.
I doubt it. But.
So moving on to Pete Thamel was reporting now, breaking, that Napier is fired. What? Man, come on. Hold on now. Don't tell me we got breaking news on the Pigskin Pete show here.
Really?
Is this real?
Well, you're not going to see it on any major website. It's just on Twitter, so I wouldn't worry about it yet.
Well, that's where the news broke that Miami was starting Emory Williams.
Yeah, look, some of it's true, some of it's not, but trying to wade through the bullshit on Twitter is a fool's errand.
Oh, dude, I got on Twitter. I'm having fun with that.
Fucking hell. I can't do it, dude. I can't do Twitter. I just can't.
Mullen gets $1 million a year through 2027. Okay. That's probably why he's sitting in that booth instead of coaching somewhere else. He's probably got one of those things that I was talking about. Yeah.
The only other thing he could do is go be go sit in a closet somewhere as an analyst.
Yeah.
So I don't see anything on Google yet. I haven't been on Twitter though, but I don't know. John is not a troll, so
No. Yeah. It might be true, but who knows? Napier
to South Carolina. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I would be absolutely shocked and also glad, because if they fired Billy Napier, I know a good chunk of that class is coming to Miami.
Mm-hmm. That seems very likely. We might be able to pick one or two of them off too. Oh, where are all the Texas A&M transfers going to go?
Not to Clemson.
Yeah. Also, I think we're going to get a couple, dude. We're going to get one or two. We're not going to.
Well, here's the thing. So, that was sort of part of Dabo's response to the fans and media saying that he refuses to use the transfer portal. He goes, we've offered guys, they just didn't love us as much as we love them. Well, what does he really mean by that?
I know we offered the kid, the O lineman who went to Michigan.
Yeah. So he's 100% right. They have tried to get some guys out of the portal, that weren't former Clemson transfers. But they did choose to go somewhere else. The question is why, and the reason is NIL money. That's why.
Maybe.
I think that's the most likely reason.
Sure, we've got NIL money. It's not like, you're going to get more NIL money at Clemson than you would at Minnesota or whatever. So,
Yeah, but that's not a high bar to
right.
I understand. What I'm saying is it's not like we couldn't get transfer players. Guys, talented players transfer to schools with less money than Clemson.
My point is, Dabo's approach to the transfer portal is the same as to recruiting. Is we want guys to come here because they want to come here, not for NIL money. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, except for the fact that all these other teams that are getting. Look at Florida State. You can go down the list.
Kneecapping yourself.
Yeah, you're kneecapping yourself. That's kind of the point. Like that's the way it is now.
I don't think that Florida State's NIL packages are materially greater than Clemson's. Maybe marginally. Are they is Florida State dumping money that Clemson doesn't have? I don't think so.
Well, I don't know either.
I don't know if it's an NIL issue.
But you've got to ask yourself. You've got to ask yourself if you are a brand, because you got to understand these kids that are playing right now don't know anything other than Clemson being a powerhouse. So you can't use the excuse of Florida State is better known than Clemson, because to these kids they're not.
Right.
They're only 18 years old.
I mean, let's not act like Florida State's in Miami's position. I mean, yeah, they had 4 or 5 straight losing seasons, but that was it.
Well, what really
they were smarter in Miami and didn't fire Norvell because their fan base whined.
Yeah. One thing that annoys me a little bit in the national media is how they act like what Florida State and Miami did 30 years ago is still culturally relevant, but what Clemson did 3 years ago is not.
Right.
It's pretty stupid.
I mean, I think they're both culturally relevant, but
I agree, but in different ways. But what I'm saying is they're like, Florida State. But Florida State sucked for a decade, and now it's like, oh, well, Clemson's dead. They're back. It's like we were fucking in the playoff through the Natty 5 years ago. Like, this is not.
Well, I mean, no, Florida State hadn't sucked for a decade.
It was like 7 years.
Yeah.
I mean, they were.
Sucked.
Well, I mean, if you want to go by the arbitrary standard of, playoffs,
right?
Well, I mean, I think there's plenty of teams that don't make the playoffs that still have a good season.
Well, not even playoffs,
but that Florida State is not culturally relevant. But
it's not even just playoffs, Slim.
I think what they did under Bobby Bowden is culturally relevant.
Not even being relevant in your own conference for that long.
But I understand they are still culturally relevant in a sense. What annoys me is when they try to act like they have some sort of deep-seated relevance that we don't, and that's just horseshit.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. I don't know. What are you thinking about the way the ACC is going to play out? Because you got Louisville sitting there, and you got Florida State's undefeated.
Yeah, it'll be those two teams.
Yeah,
it'll be a close game.
Well, here's the question: How is it going to play out if Louisville takes another loss? I mean,
whatever.
I'm not.
What do you mean to Kentucky?
Off Miami losing to Louisville.
Yeah, right. So, I mean,
I think it's a very winnable game.
I don't know what the tiebreaker between North Carolina's got to beat us, right? And NC State or whoever they play last game. I think Louisville probably ends up in the title game anyway, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And Florida State probably beats them by a touchdown, and then Florida State goes to the playoff and gets fucking shit healed by whoever they play because they're not that good.
Yeah,
Would you take Florida State over any?
I mean, I tend to agree with you, but I mean, outside of the Boston College game, they've really handled business, and I don't think you can use the Miami game as a benchmark because, I mean, that game's always close.
Well, I mean, okay, handled business. I mean, with the way people are talking about how bad we are, they didn't handle business against us, but I don't think you're saying that. Yeah, look, they're fine. They're good enough to win a bunch of games in the ACC this year, but I don't think that they're going to, if they played Michigan or Georgia or whatever, no, absolutely not. Oregon would kick their ass. This is not. Yeah. It won't be good for them when they get to the playoff. It will not be good.
Yeah. So that was, according to John, that was a fake a Twitter account. He just figured it out.
Right.
Yeah. So no, Napier's not fired.
Not yet.
But Zach Arnett is fired from Mississippi State. I think I mentioned that earlier in the news, but that's not surprising at all. God knows.
Why are you going to hire him just to fire him after the first year? Come on.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think they put him in to replace Leach, right? Because it was a tumultuous time and whatnot, which fair.
Well, and I get that. You don't want the optics of a coaching search, especially right after Leach dies abruptly. But, okay, give him a shot.
Yeah, I think even though they hired him after Leach died, that they've been looking the whole time. I'm not sure he was ever planning. They were ever planning for him to be the permanent guy there.
And like they suck. He's clearly way over his head. He's not
right.
Well,
I mean, they're awful.
Yes, they're awful, but I mean, he's also not trying to run the air raid like Mike Leach.
Right.
So I mean, that's like Georgia Tech's first year switching from the triple option. Everybody knew that was going to be bad.
Right.
That and Mike Leach, which is 10 times better coach than him.
If they had fired Jeff Collins after 1 year, they'd been much better off too.
Yeah, there you go.
So.
Well, I mean, you don't know until you give somebody the time.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't pay super close attention to Mississippi State, but I think that they are shit this year and look completely. I mean, from what I understand and have read and seen in limited action, like they're a mess. They're an absolute.
Well, yeah, but by your definition, Miami is a shit team. Yeah. That's just not the case.
No. I was just being an asshole. No, Miami's better than Mississippi State.
Well, I get that, but I mean, you take away, like, I don't think Miami's anywhere near a playoff caliber team, but realistically, they've got one loss without all these turnovers. Like, I still think we probably would have lost to North Carolina just because North Carolina's been a pain in our ass.
Yeah, that was an annoying game. Yeah.
But, I mean, who knows? I mean, we only lost that game by 10. I mean, the defense was playing lights out in the first half. They just gave out because the offense wasn't doing anything.
Yep. And I did watch that game. That was frustrating.
It was. But like I said, I mean, what I predicted for the season is still very much in play. I predicted them to go 8-4. So if that happens, great. That's a great. I'm not complaining over it. I'm frustrated by the way it happened because you can see greater potential there. But, you know, once again, how about y'all just focus on winning a damn bowl game? That'd be great.
Yeah. Well, Slim, you're in like the less than 1% of the Miami fan base when you say that.
That's true.
Yeah, well, I've spent since Saturday arguing with people that said Emory Williams looked great against Florida State. And no shit, I think I've lost about 40 brain cells in the process.
Yeah.
I mean,
y'all are really advocating for a guy that completed like 35% of his passes. I mean, he showed hard. I'll give him that. I'm not knocking the kid.
Yeah.
What are we looking like at the future at quarterback there? When I say future, I don't know what's Van Dyke's status for next year.
Nobody knows. I said early in the season, this was such a stacked quarterback class that it would be in his best interest to come back anyway.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right.
And so, and at this point, I definitely think he's going to.
Well, yeah,
you
don't want to. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'd be fine with him coming back because, I mean, when he's on, he's on.
I think he's going to need to
like
show a little more consistency if he wants to be a top first or second day draft pick. I don't think he would go in the first 3 rounds if he goes out right now.
Well, and I agree with that. And this is the point that Miami fans just ignore. The guy's been set up for failure.
Sure.
Let's not forget, Dan Enos recruited him in 2019.
Dan Enos. Jeez.
So, Dan Enos, Rhett Lashley, Josh Gaddis, and now Dawson.
That's insane.
That's really rough.
That's not a recipe for success, and you wonder why your offense looks the way it does.
Yeah, you guys need to stop doing that.
Yeah, I've been screaming it from the mountaintops for 7 years.
Yeah,
I really have. D coordinator is just as bad. It is.
I don't think
it's just as
if
bad.
a guy leaves for another job, that's different. But I mean, if you can't just keep cycling them out like fucking, you know.
I don't think
I agree.
I don't think you're going to see a change at coordinator for Miami this year, though. Do you? Either one.
No, I don't. I don't see any need to. The defense is playing elite. I mean, last time I looked at it, they were still in the top 10 in total defense.
Right.
So I'm not sure where he pulled that stat up earlier.
I'll pull it up right now. I'll look at it.
But, I
The
mean,
defense has played very good all year long.
I mean, it changes from week to week, so.
right, and you can give up a couple plays with the
It
backup,
does.
and then it doesn't matter. The actual number doesn't matter. Good is fine is fine. Good is good. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's not saying
And
that.
listen, like what I said about Keon Coleman, that was a true freshman corner on him all night.
Yeah, they're 19th right now
Okay.
in total defense.
Well, I know they gave up a lot of yards to like North Carolina,
Right.
so that one's going to hurt them. I think the Virginia one kind of hurt them too.
Here's the top 10 right now as of today: Michigan, Penn State, Air Force, Ohio State, Ohio, Clemson, Notre Dame, Iowa, Georgia, UCLA. That's the top 10 right now.
Yeah.
Dude, and Miami fans are so mad that Manny Diaz got Penn State's defense in the top 10.
Yeah. I mean, he knows what he's doing.
That just, I mean, this just shows you. You look at this list here. I'll put it up on the screen. This list just shows you how bad some of these offenses are. I mean, because you got Penn State. They're, I mean, second defense in the country. Their offense is atrocious. Clemson's sitting there at number 6 in the country. Their offense has been atrocious. Notre Dame, same thing.
Iowa.
I mean,
how much
Iowa.
of Penn State's problem is really that coordinator, and how much of it is Drew Allar? Because he's just not playing well.
I don't know.
Well,
I
the same could be said for
might not
Clemson.
Be in a good situation either.
True.
Yeah. But that matters. I mean, that's the most important position
same
on
could
the
be
offense.
Yeah, same could be said for Van Dyke. And listen, I put the majority of the blame on Van Dyke. Like, I got in this argument with T2Y. He's just constantly harping on 12 interceptions, and I'm like, I'll give you credit for about 8, maybe 9, but like I'm not crucifying an interception when you're just chunking the ball in the end zone on the last play of the game and it gets picked off.
Sure. Or if it bounces.
Like not all interceptions are created equal.
Of course. Yeah. I do want to interject one thing here, Pete.
Yeah.
I was watching the basketball season has started. Clemson had 2 massive comeback wins over just UAB and Davidson, but they were comeback wins.
Yeah.
Builds confidence, whatever. Anyways, I was watching the Davidson game on replay this morning, and we were down like 19-2, came back to win. But we beat Davidson. Their best player is their star freshman, and his name is, I shit you not, I almost fucking
Bobby Durkins.
Bobby Durkin is his
Durkin, yeah.
Bobby Durkin. I was like, what the fuck?
That's a sign right there.
Wow.
I did watch Miami's first game and got to see him raise that Final Four banner.
I'm looking here at Cade Klubnik's. I'm trying to compare. I have a bet with Uncle Lou for Cade Klubnik versus DJ Uiagalelei's stats.
Oh, that's you lost that.
No. So we have 3 categories.
Okay.
It's completion percentage,
Yes.
total yards, and total touchdowns.
Which one are you winning?
I think I'm winning 2 of them.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I'm about to find out right now. I'm looking at them right now. So we got right now, Cade Klubnik for 2023 is sitting at 60.7% completion percentage.
Ugh.
This only has passing yards. I need to know the total yards, which is probably bad because Klubnik's he might have negative rushing yards.
Yeah, he can't run really. He has no toughness in the run game and takes shitload of sacks.
Let's see here. Where is that stat at?
You mean to tell me DJU is below 60% completion? Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he is.
No shit.
Like,
I know DJ.
For all the shit Van Dyke gets, he's still hovering like right at 70% or just below.
I know DJ's winning the total touchdowns category, but I'm not sure about the other 2.
I figured total touchdowns because he'll have some rushing touchdowns.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're playing against a lot of bad defenses as well. Well, I mean,
I wouldn't say that. There's some good defense. Oregon's a good defense. Utah's a good defense.
Sure. Yes.
Um,
they dropped 62 on Stanford and however 58 or 9 on Cal and shit like that.
I mean, Stanford and Cal are just bad teams.
Welcome to ACC.
All around. USC, obviously atrocious defense.
Yes.
I actually think this is probably the worst defense I've seen under Lincoln Riley. I think Alex Grinch is getting worse.
Well, they fired him.
Yeah.
Now he can go ruin someone else's Christmas too.
He better, like, if I'm Lincoln Riley, I know it's not culturally a fit. I completely agree, but I'm going to offer Will Muschamp whatever he wants.
Boy, they're really close in yards.
Somebody mentioned, was it Arnett, that they should hire Arnett? I think that's what it was. Let me look here. Somebody mentioned that USC should look at Arnett, which Zach, I want to call him Will Arnett. It's Zach Arnett, but yeah. Will Arnett.
Sorry, I'm looking up these stats here. I think it's pretty close between the two of them. But everybody's sucking DJ's nuts, but they're saying K. Klubnik's terrible. The only difference between the two, honestly, in my opinion, is the turnovers, the fumbles.
And it's
How
not
are we
like
looking
DJ
on our?
really fun to turn it over.
How do you think we're looking on our bet with Sea-Dog as of Saturday?
Well,
Which bet was that?
they would make a bowl. It was over under 5.5 wins.
I think that they probably are going to beat Syracuse.
I don't know, man. I'm hoping Clemson broke them. I really am.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling great about it, honestly.
They're better than Syracuse.
Well, they're going to get destroyed by Georgia, so it just comes down to the Syracuse game.
Yeah.
Yeah. That game's in Syracuse too, isn't it?
Is it?
I think so.
I don't know.
The dome named after a wireless company that has shit wireless inside and used to be named after an air conditioning company. It doesn't have air conditioning.
It does now.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, it's got air conditioning now.
Yeah, what's up, Nate?
Yeah, no, I didn't pay for everybody.
Yeah, what's up? Yeah, what's up, guys?
What's up, Vic? Hey, Nate, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm glad to see you're alive. You made it.
Yeah, did you steal any of Pete's signs, Nate?
He didn't steal any signs, no.
No, but we did put a tent in Pete's groceries.
We prepared for that, though.
Yeah, you gotta tell Lou that I didn't steal signs, so I'm not a cheater. Well, I am a cheater.
How many boxes of taquitos did you go through, Nate?
2.
Well,
So,
there's one
how-
big box. There's one big box, and there's 2 bags.
yeah. And how many pizzas did you eat?
Probably a total, probably, I don't know, 10. I don't know.
No, well, 10 pieces maybe, yeah.
Maybe I ate 10 slices.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we have to measure pizza and surface area.
I did put cream cheese on pizza when we made pizza.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put it
Yeah,
on.
because if you're talking New York style, that's a big ass pizza.
That's not really big, but it's like those. I don't know how you call them, but
They're like DiGiorno pizzas.
yeah, yeah,
Well, then we ordered pizza one night, too.
yeah. Hey, if y'all were like making fun of P of the chocolate grill, yeah. It was really good.
Oh, no, the tri-tip steak came out great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna do it again soon.
yeah. Do you have any tips for everyone how to make it?
Yeah, I got a video up.
Tips
Well, I
for
know that, but like, do you have any tips like when? Well, I'm eating it. Like, is it chewy? I know what it is. Just review. Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't chewy to me. It was tender.
Yeah.
Tender, okay. So it was a steak.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a part. Yeah, it's part
It tastes
of a cow.
like steak. Okay.
It is steak. Yeah.
I know it. Yeah, what steak tastes.
And we also cooked. I didn't cook burgers, but Pete cooked burgers on the grill or the charcoal. Yeah, that was pretty good too.
Yeah, I made burgers on the grill last night for dinner. That's right. And they were good.
That charcoal grill is something else. But yeah, yes, you did beat me in bowling. I was getting, mad at the bowling alley.
Yeah, he was getting mad because I was beating him.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was getting steamy hot, but I didn't say any bad things about you or about bowling.
So I guess Kate did not cheat in bowling, right?
No. Well,
It's kind of hard to cheat in bowling.
Yeah, you can't steal signs in bowling.
Yeah.
all you can steal is moves or how you bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, what?
No defense in bowling, huh?
That you could use the bowling ball and break one of those teams.
All right, Nate, I'm gonna have to let you go. I'm glad you're home and I had a great time, but there's too much like background noise. He's driving in his car. I guess he's on his way home. It's just too noisy.
Yeah. Just like you've ever seen any of those like bowling fail videos where they like throw the ball and then they like take out one of the TVs or something. Yeah.
You know, I was just gonna say that it's like the game I play competitively, which is darts. There's definitely no defense in darts, and then of course you mentioned that a darts accident is even more horrific than a bowling one.
Oh yeah. Oh, I actually enjoyed bowling. I only go bowling like once or twice a year, maybe. But it's fun. I was trying to get me and Mrs. Peete were talking shit back and forth because we're competitive every time we compete against each other. But I was trying to get Nate amped up, but he just wouldn't take the bait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's an even-keeled guy as they come.
Yeah.
Should have gave him some cream cheese pizza, and then he would have been amped right up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We ordered a bunch of food at that bowling alley. I know that.
Well, of course.
Yeah. Anyway. Well, gentlemen, I do have to go. It's after 1 o'clock, so.
Right. Well, let's see how this goes.
Well, I'm glad you're alive and okay and all that.
We're good.
Now if we can get Luke Walker to come back,
Oh, yeah.
that'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this would be the week.
Mm-hmm.
He may have swallowed his tongue. I mean, after losing to Virginia and Georgia Tech, God.
Yeah.
And then having to eat a crow. Yeah, I'm disappointed that crow bet got canceled.
Well, no, he got away on that. He slipped away.
Did.
Yeah, that turned into a nothing burger there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm disappointed. I really am.
yeah.
I'll see if he resurfaces this week.
Hopefully, we got the ACC show tomorrow. I'm expecting him to make an appearance.
What time is the ACC show again?
Well, it's 7 o'clock my time.
PM.
It's
Yeah.
Easter.
So that's 7 a.m. your time. Yeah.
That's 8 now. You guys had to say daylight savings.
Oh yeah. We went back an hour. Yeah. China doesn't do that, do they?
No, it's 2 a.m. here now.
Yeah.
No. Does that? We're the only country that does that.
Yeah, we're the only idiots that still do that stupid stuff.
That's why we're the best, because we still do smart things like that.
What's smart about changing the clocks?
It's nothing. It's very dumb.
What's about changing the clock? I mean,
Nothing. Arizona doesn't do it.
Indiana, parts of Indiana also don't. Strangely, I don't know.
Parts of.
Yeah, it's like a county to county thing. I don't know how the hell they keep track of it, but
Yeah, that's weird.
That sounds weird. Yeah.
If I was elected President Pigskin Pete, the first thing I would do is say no more daylight savings time.
Good.
Yes.
Well, I mean, you can
Very
say
important.
it, but
No, I just signed an executive order. No more daylight savings time.
yeah, well, it don't work that way.
I guess it does.
I think you might could get away with that executive order. Actually.
Yeah.
Executive order.
Yep. And then I'd file to impeach your ass the next day.
Yeah.
No, I mean, well, I mean, our last two. I mean, our last two presidents have signed record numbers of.
Yeah. Well, you couldn't impeach me because you'd be my vice president. So how are you going to do that to your president?
We'll find that it's a coup d'état.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I appreciate you coming on.
Yep.
All right, man.
All right, talk to y'all
Catch
later.
you again soon. Yeah.
Yep. All right, everybody. That's going to do it for the Monday Midday Show. Tonight, 10 o'clock on Uncle Lou's channel. The Lunch Money Show will go over the betting lines. I have not cheated. I did not cheat this week like Michigan does on a regular basis, and I have not looked at the betting lines. I probably will take a peek at them right before the show, just so I'm somewhat familiar with what I'm talking about, but I haven't looked at them yet. So that'll be a lot of fun. Make sure you tune in for that. I appreciate all of you. Have a great Monday, and